My roommate secretly installed a camera in our living room, but he forgot one thing. I never thought my roommate was weird. At first, he seemed completely normal. We met through a housing website and decided to split rent on a small 2-bedroom apartment. It wasn't fancy, but it was cheap and close to my university. For the first few weeks, everything was fine. We barely talked. He mostly stayed in his room playing games, and I was busy with classes and work. But then something strange started happening. Every time I left my room, it felt like he already knew. If I walked into the kitchen, he would suddenly open his door and say something like, "Oh, you're making food?" If I grabbed the remote to watch TV, he'd immediately come out and say, "Mind if I join?" At first I thought it was coincidence, but it kept happening. Every single time, even late at night. Once at around 2 a.m., I quietly walked into the kitchen to grab some water, and right on cue, his door opened. He stepped out and said, "Oh, hey, couldn't sleep either?" That's when I started getting suspicious, because I didn't make any noise. So how did he know I was there? I brushed it off for a while, but the feeling wouldn't go away. Then one day I noticed something that made my stomach drop. I was cleaning the living room when I saw a small black object sitting on the bookshelf. It was tiny, about the size of a coin, and it was pointed directly at the couch. At first I thought it was some kind of sensor or decoration, but when I looked closer, it had a tiny lens. It was a camera. My heart started racing. Why would there be a camera in our living room? And more importantly, why didn't I know about it? I didn't confront him right away. Instead, I did something else. I pretended I never saw it. That night, I did some research and found out the camera was connected to a phone app, which meant someone could watch the live feed remotely. The next day, I decided to test something. I walked into the living room and just sat there on the couch. Within 10 seconds, his door opened. He stepped out and said, "Oh, watching TV?" That confirmed it. He was watching me through the camera. But instead of confronting him, I decided to mess with him a little first. The next evening, I brought a big white poster board into the living room. I sat down on the couch. Then I slowly held up the sign directly in front of the camera. It said, "I know about the camera." I waited. 5 seconds passed. 10 seconds. Then suddenly, I heard his door slam open. He rushed into the living room, looked at the sign, and immediately froze. The look on his face was pure panic. For a few seconds, neither of us said anything. Then he nervously laughed and said, "Oh, that's just for security." Security, in the living room, facing the couch. Right where guests would sit. I just stared at him and said, "You didn't tell me about it." He started rambling excuses about safety and break-ins, but none of it made sense. So I asked him one simple question. Why does it only point at the couch and not the front door? He had no answer. That's when he quietly unplugged the camera and walked back into his room without another word. The next morning, the camera was gone. 2 weeks later, he moved out. No explanation, no goodbye. Just packed his things and disappeared. But here's the part that still creeps me out. A few days after he left, I was moving furniture while cleaning the apartment. And behind the TV stand, I found another one. A second camera. This one was pointed directly at my bedroom door. And suddenly, all those coincidences made a lot more sense. Needless to say, I unplugged that one too, and now I check every apartment for cameras before I move in.